Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jared here with another concert review. This one is going to be for a concert I have already reviewed, so it's actually going to be a part 2. And the reason I'm doing a part 2 to this is because the first time that I reviewed this concert, I really was just keeping up with it on the MyGNR forum, watching videos online, live streams, things of that nature. And a little bit after this concert happened, somebody uploaded the in-ear monitor audio version of this concert, which is fantastic audio quality. It's basically what Axl hears in his earpiece. And the concert is the Yokohama, Japan concert for Guns N' Roses on May 5th, 2025 at the K Arena. On the Because What You Want and What You Get are two completely different things tour. This is the second show of the tour. And Guns N' Roses has actually had a few different concerts where the in-ear monitor content has been attained and uploaded somehow. I know in 2009, their concert in Tokyo, Japan, the same exact thing happened. So we're talking two different Japanese concerts. I don't know how people get a hold of this stuff. They also got a hold of the sound check prior to the concert that Axl did not attend. And the most notable thing about that sound check was they sound checked Nothing and Atlas. So after listening to this whole concert multiple times, I wanted to give you some thoughts and opinions. I didn't want to rehash a lot of the same stuff that I mentioned in the first review. This is a completely different perspective a month later, and the tour has had many concerts since then. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. One of the first notable things about this, and I did mention this in my first review, but I have a little bit of a newer perspective on it. During Welcome to the Jungle, the first song, Axl, he says, "Oh, Tokyo, I want to hear you scream." But the thing that's interesting about this in-ear monitor version is you can actually hear what Axl says to the crew after he says this mistake. And Axl has two different switches on his microphone. Obviously the one where he can sing and speak to the crowd, but he has a switch where he can just speak to the crew specifically. So after he makes this statement about it being Tokyo when it's actually Yokohama, he switches the microphone and he looks over to the crew and says, "Or is it Yokohama?" And then he gets a little frustrated and says to one of the crew members, "I can't see you." And then a little bit later in the song, he once again double checks and he says, "It's Yokohama, right?" Almost as if like he's not 100% sure about the pronunciation. So, funny moment for sure. And at the time, when I first saw this, I thought it might be a mistake, but I wasn't sure. After hearing this version, it was 100% a mistake. It was just not a big deal, but it was comical. Another thing that happened in this show, one of the most notable things, was the second song. Isaac Carpenter, the new drummer, his second show, once again, he started Mr. Brownstone. And they quickly switched Bad Obsession. I watched this part live, I remember. And at the time, once again, I didn't know if it was a mistake or if maybe they just changed their mind a little bit into the song. But after hearing this version, Axl did get frustrated at this point when Isaac started Mr. Brownstone. He said, "Bad Obsession, yeah, Bad Obsession." And he's like, no, Bad Obsession. Then he waits and stands there for a second as Isaac continues to play Mr. Brownstone. And he's, 2 feet in front of him and he's staring at him and he's like, "Bad Obsession." And then finally Isaac stops and he starts to transition into Bad Obsession, and Axl kind of walks away and says, can Isaac not hear me? By the way, he actually calls him Isaac, and it drives me nuts. I don't know why he calls him Isaac. Nobody calls him Isaac. His name is Isaac, but Axl is consistent with constantly calling this guy Isaac. But once again, he says, can Isaac not hear me? And then I believe Isaac starts to talk and says, yeah, I can hear you. I made a mistake or whatever. And then Axl interrupts and he's like, I can't hear whoever's talking. Gets snippy with him. He has a tone through all this. He's frustrated. And yeah, basically they go into Bad Obsession, and that's the end of that. So it leads me to my next point, which, by the way, somebody kind of clipped this up. His name is Saint Zero, and he actually commented on some of these videos. But he took this audio and the video and pieced it together, and his video went viral, and a lot of different websites kind of picked it up and everything. Very interesting, you know, Axl Rose like temper moment, especially with it being new and everything. And it leads me to my next thought that I wanted to say. It's very interesting to hear Axl with such a tone and like being frustrated, because we don't hear or see that very much anymore out of Axl. Back in the day, we used to hear and see this stuff all the time, and it was way worse. Jumping into the crowd, you know, hitting people, shit like that. But that was back before he had the little switch on his microphone, and he was younger. But back in the day, he would just say this shit on the microphone, and everyone could hear it. But not anymore. Now it's really it's behind the scenes, behind the curtain type of stuff. But anyway, one of the most notable things about this concert for sure is his little frustration with Isaac, and what, you know, just the technical difficulties in relation to transitioning into Bad Obsession. And I also find it interesting that like the other members of the band and also the crew, they don't get upset about with Axl like reacting like this or talking like this. It's almost like they're used to it and they don't take it personal. Like it's totally fine. Like that's just Axl, basically. Very interesting dynamic to just see and hear how they react to this type of stuff. They're not like scared or anything like that. That's just Axl, basically. So the fourth song they played, well, actually, let me say this. After Bad Obsession, they played Chinese Democracy, but then they went into Slither right after Chinese Democracy, and I thought it was such a fantastic, cool transition. And it was funny because right after I had this thought, Axl said the same thing on the in-ear monitor to the band or whatever. He said, "Ooh, cool transition," or "nice transition," something to that effect. So that made me laugh out loud because I had the same exact thought. Really awesome transition there. One thing I wanted to mention about You Could Be Mine, which it was the first time that they played it on the tour. This is a problem that I've seen Axl and Guns N' Roses have multiple times throughout the years, but especially lately. A lot of times Axl struggles, and I'm not even saying it's his fault. A lot of people think it's related to the in-ear monitor stuff, but staying on time with the band, a lot of the times he gets behind like a good like few seconds, where and he's completely unaware of it, and that happens multiple times throughout the show. But You Could Be Mine was definitely one that he did not sound good on. And then another one that I wanted to mention was Perhaps. Perhaps was interesting. He was definitely once again having some struggles on this one, especially during the chorus. And during the first chorus, there was no background vocals at all. And after the first chorus, Axl once again says to the band, he was like, "Did anybody sing on those?" And he was once again just talking about the background vocals, and he was frustrated about it. And during the second chorus, there was definitely more background vocals. And yeah, Axl, it's just interesting. Like, he doesn't have a problem like having tones with people, cutting people off. And I will say, as far as like the set list goes, most of what we see and hear on the set list, it's Axl like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. I don't think there's a lot of collaboration from what I heard on this version. I mean, don't get me wrong, it happens sometimes where he's like, would you rather do this song or that song? You know, stuff like that here and there. But most of the time it's like, let's do this. It's Axl saying, let's do this song next. Let's do this song next. Not a lot of collaboration. Another thing about this show that just came to my mind was he actually had a shoe problem. I don't think it was anything like major, but it was interesting. He did mention like a few times that he was having a problem with his shoe. I thought Coma did not sound good with Axl, unfortunately. And once again, at the end of Sorry, he really got lost at the end of that one. Don't Cry was interesting. Sometimes Axl, I swear, he just like, he will make weird noises with his voice, I think just for like the fun of it. Like during Don't Cry, he was like, you know, he has this such soft vocals, and he's just, but then he'll like make a weird noise out of nowhere. He'll be like, and please don't take it so bad. Like he puts like so much emphasis on the bad, where it's like, that sounds bad. Why did he do that? It's almost like a jump scare for the crowd. And he even does weird shit during like Paradise City, and he's been doing this for years, where he almost makes a noise that sounds like a burp. Like he'll be like, just an urchin living under the street. Okay, it's like it's just, it's comical. I don't understand why he does that goofy shit. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention after Perhaps, which was also big, Axl mentioned that he would do the 2 new songs if they had a marketing plan in place, but he hasn't seen anything. Very, very interesting and notable. One of the most notable things about this whole show was him making that comment. And let's go ahead, and I wanted to talk about Wichita Lineman, one that is a cover, Glenn Campbell, Jimmy Webb, whatever you want to say. Wichita Lineman's one that fans are very up in arms about. Some people love it, some people hate it. I actually like it. I think it sounds good, especially with Axl's voice now. I don't mind it at all, but I can understand people being frustrated about like getting that and not getting something else. But one thing I wanted to say about this, Melissa Reese actually sang this in soundcheck, and I thought it sounded phenomenal. I didn't realize how good of a voice she has, and I just think she is underutilized, especially with how good her voice is. They need to use her more, and this would be a prime opportunity to do like a duet. I saw someone say this, like do a duet or something, like Axl and Melissa on Wichita Lineman. But once again, it's the Axl show, and I just can't really foresee that happening. But man, she's a good singer and definitely needs to be utilized more. Hard School, another one where Axl just did not sound good, and on top of him not sounding good, once again, just like struggling to stay on time. And I, once again, think it's because of the in-ear monitor stuff, just it being delayed or behind or something. But yeah, it just happens a lot nowadays with him being behind on these songs. I did make a mistake, I believe, in the part 1. I mentioned that they sang Happy Birthday to Duff's wife, Susan. Axl just wished her a happy birthday. They didn't actually sing it. But overall, very, very interesting piece of content that came out. The video, the audio is on YouTube as I make this video, and you can just look it up if you wanted to. But super, super interesting. I will say, Isaac Carpenter is one that talks a lot on this show. He really does, like, he is vocal and communicates a lot as far as like making sure everybody's ready, making sure he sees Slash before he starts a song, and just, you know, vocalizing what song that he's about to start, stuff like that. Axl definitely jokes around, and Duff talk sometimes. I never heard Slash. I heard Melissa. I think it was Melissa. I assume it's Melissa. One time near the end of the show, Axel asked like how much time, or he's like, what time are we at? Like how much time? How long have we played? And then someone said something, and once again Axel got frustrated and was like, no, like I'm asking like how long have we played, and just getting frustrated. And then Melissa kind of responded like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and he's like, thank you. Yeah, Duff at times would kind of like apologize if he made a mistake here and there, but very, very interesting behind the scenes stuff. Love hearing this stuff. It's very, very cool. And man, it kind of just reminds me of old school Axel. The reason why one of the main reasons why I became such a huge fan of this band is because of Axel, and because of just, he's such a character and just so interesting to watch and listen to. And yeah, definitely check out this stuff if you're interested. But super, super cool. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.